This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Friday, the 11th day of September in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. In an unannounced trip this morning, President Irfan Ali traveled to the west coast of Berbice, where he met with the families of the murdered teenagers, Isaiah and Joel Henry and Harris Singh. According to a release from the president's office, he wanted to personally express his condolences to the families and to assure them of his government's support in bringing the perpetrators to justice. The release said the president assured the relatives that no stone will be left unturned to ensure that those responsible for the heinous acts are brought to justice and made to answer for their crimes. During the visit with each of the families, the president also pledged to work tirelessly to ensure that the resolution of the investigation is given the highest priority. According to the statement from the office of the president, President Ali also used the opportunity to urge residents and community members present to work with the members of the police force and the Guyana Defense Force who are stationed in the communities to restore peace and stability. He was quoted as saying that safety and security in all of the communities remain a top priority. He said there is more visibility underground and more resources underground. The president also asked residents to cooperate with the police who are working to not only conduct their investigations, but to also bring peace to the communities. He said no form of criminality will be tolerated. Meanwhile, the aggrieved relatives all expressed their hope that justice will be served swiftly and that all leads will be pursued. Cousins Isaiah and Joel Henry were found mutilated and murdered last Sunday in the back dam of Cotton Tree, West Coast Berbice. Their badly chopped bodies were found one day after they went missing after venturing into the back dam to pick coconuts. They will be laid to rest this coming Sunday. The double murder led to days of widespread protests across West Berbice. On Wednesday midday, the body of the 13-teenager Harris Singh was found in the back dam of No. 3 village. He was last seen the same morning and was the grandson of one of the suspects in the murder of the cousins Joel and Isaiah Henry. A post-mortem examination found that he died from blunt trauma to the head and brain hemorrhage. The investigations into the three murders are ongoing. More on that post-mortem result when we return.
Isuzu D-Max, built to work. Whether it's mining, construction, agriculture, or just adventure, Isuzu D-Max does the job. Put it to the test. Isuzu D-Max, engineered to keep every promise. Marex is the authorized dealer for all Isuzu products. Marex, telephone 226-1482 and 226-1306. Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls gas station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
We've been through it all.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class or religion.
We
are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. The Guyana Police Force has reported that the post-mortem examination was completed this morning on the body of 17-year-old Harris Singh, who was found in the back dam of No. 3 Village West Coast Berbice 2 days ago. The post-mortem examination found that Singh died from blunt trauma to the head and brain hemorrhage, which were compounded by compression injuries to his neck. Singh was the grandson of one of the suspects in the murder of teenage cousins Joel and Isaiah Henry. He was last seen alive on Wednesday morning when he left his home on a motorcycle to visit a farm in the back dam. His motorcycle was found burnt, and according to the crime chief Wendell Blanham, the youth was found with a wound to his head and bleeding from the nose. The findings of the post-mortem examination suggest that a teenager was hit across the head repeatedly. There appear to have been no other wounds to his body. The young man's grieving family members have been crying out for justice and have expressed fear about being in the community since the arrest of the boy's grandfather as a suspect in the double murder case. They said they have been repeatedly threatened by persons in the nearby villages. In a statement on Thursday evening, the Guyana Police Force said there has been no arrest in the case of Harris Singh's murder. Let's tell you that the Ministry of Education will be moving ahead next week with at-home learning for its students across the country, utilizing TV, radio, online, and social media. Education Minister Priya Manikchand today said no date has been set as yet for the reopening of schools, as the number of coronavirus cases in the country continues to climb.
When we will open, so I can't tell you that now. When we open would really depend on the epidemiological patterns and decisions on this disease. That's really the only reason we're closed. We want to keep our children engaged. We want to make sure they learn, but we want to keep them safe. We want to make sure we have them 10 years from now to benefit from whatever we're teaching them now. So that's why we can't tell you right now, realistically, when we can open.
The minister explained that in the coming weeks, students will be able to access schoolwork while at home through a number of platforms as the Education Ministry and health officials continue to monitor the situation in relation to the coronavirus.
We will begin re-engaging some of our students from September 14th, 2020. The methods that will be used are teaching on the internet, using various platforms, the learning channel, print materials such as worksheets and multiple choice questions and notes, and the radio.
Manikchand said she knows it is important for children to get face-to-face learning experiences, but with the current situation, the safety of teachers and the students is paramount.
But we have to rely on our extended family structures. Grandmothers and grandfathers are going to have to step up, aunties and uncles, daddies who might be home during the day instead of working in the night. We're going to have to innovate. We're in a pandemic. It is not normal times. We all have to give the best we have to making sure as far as we can we keep our children engaged.
The government has set aside $300 million to assist in the rollout of the Blended Learning Initiative. The learning channel is to be expanded under the current budget, and private radio and TV stations are also likely to be brought on board. Let's tell you now that Minister of Education Priya Manikchand today said the recently installed Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Paloma Mohammed, has her full support and will continue to enjoy that support. Back in June, in the height of the post-election saga, the University of Guyana announced the appointment of Dr. Mohammed to the top university position. She landed the job following a number of interviews and a decision by the University Council. However, just after the change in government in August, there were whispers in some government circles that the administration might not have been too happy with the university's decision to make the appointment. Bishop Juan Edgil, who is now the Minister of Works, had made a call for the appointment to be recalled. But during a press conference this afternoon, the Education Minister, Priya Manikchand, made it clear that she did not have a problem with the appointment, since it followed a number of statutes that cover the University of Guyana, and she intends to continue to lend full support to Dr. Mohammed.
Paloma Mohammed was chosen as Vice Chancellor, elected as Vice Chancellor by a process. That process is governed by statute, the University of Guyana Act. The council is the body that selects a vice chancellor. Dr. Mohammed is in place. She has my full support. She is going to enjoy that support so that Together we can align UG's priorities and delivery of education with what the country needs and the government's vision is for the country.
Without giving any examples, the education minister said she knows there are still concerns about the politicization of the University of Guyana, and she hopes that it's an issue the Vice Chancellor will be able to address. Up until her appointment, Professor Dr. Mohammed, who is a behavioral scientist, was serving as the Deputy Vice Chancellor responsible for philanthropy, alumni, and civic engagement. She served previously as the Director of the Center for Communication Studies and the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences at the same University of Guyana. She was educated at the University of Guyana, Harvard University, and the University of the West Indies in Trinidad and Tobago. Chairperson of the People's National Congress Reform, Walda Lawrence, today demanded that the Director of Public Prosecutions withdraws the election fraud charges against her that were filed privately by PPP member Charles Ramson Jr. Lawrence was back at the Georgetown Magistrates Court this morning for the continuation of the case. However, the prosecuting attorney requested more time of the court to gather more evidence for the case. Lawrence was charged and placed on bail back in August after the PP member filed a private criminal charge against her, accusing her of being involved in election fraud. The case is now set to come up again in the month of November. In a statement, Mrs. Lawrence said she remains innocent of the charges filed by Ramson against her. She said at no time did she give any instruction to any GCOM agent or conspire with any GCOM agent, and there is absolutely no proof of that. Lawrence also said throughout the election process, Charles Ramson Jr. was never in her presence, and the allegations made by him show the wickedness and malice of the charges.
Another waste of taxpayers' money and my time. The prosecutors are not ready. They claim that they have several other pieces of evidence which they're putting together, etc. And so we have been asked to come back on the 16th of November. The 16th of November. My lawyer has argued that they set a longer date so that the prosecutor will have the time to gather all of the evidence so that when we come back, he can present those pieces of evidence to the court.
The PNC chairperson also said she never had any forged document in her possession and never saw any forged document, as alleged by Charles Ramson Jr., and those allegations are utterly false. She believes the Director of Public Prosecutions must withdraw the charges, as she demands to be treated with respect and dignity. The court case against the Chief Election Officer Keith Lohanfield in relation to allegations of fraud at the March elections has been delayed once again. The case, which stemmed from private criminal charges filed by a representative of the PPP and the New Movement Party, is being prosecuted by their attorney Glenn Hanneman. Hanneman requested more time today to file additional statements in the cases. Although he had claimed that he will be filing hundreds of statements in the matters, when the case was called today, he only filed 3 statements and requested a 1-month adjournment.
Now, the DPP did not appear. Mr. Hanneman has indicated to the court that he thinks the DPP will take over. He filed 3 sets of statements. 1 in relation to the charge private criminal by Kanai, and 2 in relation to the private criminal by Murian. He has asked that it should be put down for 1 month to give him a further opportunity to file further statements. We have suggested to the court we can't go on like this indefinitely. If this is going to be the conduct, discharge Lohanfield. So we agree that a start-up date for trial will be the 26th of October in relation to Murian charges, and the 27th of October in relation to the charge brought by Kanai.
The case will now continue in October. The attorneys for the Chief Election Officer are still awaiting the DPP's response to their request for the matter to be withdrawn. There was no representative from the DPP's office in court today, and the DPP has not made any recent pronouncement regarding the matters. The charges filed by PP member Desmond Morian against the Chief Election Officer has been adjourned until October 26, when the trial is expected to begin. The trial into the charges laid by the New Movement Party is expected to commence on the 27th of October. It was back in July that Lohanfield appeared before Magistrate McGusty to answer the 3 private criminal charges brought against him for alleged fraud and misconduct. He was not required to enter a plea to the charges and was released on $450,000 bail. On advice of the DPP, the Guyana Police Force launched what it called a comprehensive investigation into the allegations of fraud. That investigation is still ongoing. In the field of health, the Ministry of Health today reported that Guyana has recorded 13 new coronavirus cases, and there are 13 persons still in the coronavirus ICU. Yesterday, the country recorded 3 coronavirus-related deaths. The Health Ministry indicated today that a previous death has also now been confirmed as coronavirus-related. The new deaths and the latest confirmation has taken the total number of deaths from the disease in the country to 52. 6 weeks ago, Guyana had only recorded 20 deaths in 4 months. A total of 32 deaths have now been recorded in the past 6 weeks, and the situation remains worrying for health officials. There are still more than 500 active cases of coronavirus in the country, with the majority of those cases in home isolation. Across the region is coming up next. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls Gas Station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, Argentina's government said yesterday that it will abstain from voting and called on other countries to do the same in the upcoming election of a new president at Latin America's main financing institution. Argentina said holding the vote on the 12th of September runs the risk of deepening the division in the region. It was a statement shared by the presidential palace. The South American nation is among several Latin American countries that call for an election delay after President Donald Trump put forward senior advisor Mauricio Clarvé-Caron, who is poised to win as the first candidate from outside the region. Argentina's decision to abstain underscores its opposition to the candidate, known for his tough stance on Venezuela and Cuba as head of the IDB, which is responsible for some $12 billion in financing annually. The bank has been helmed by Latin American leaders since its inception in 1959. In Jamaica, as COVID-19 numbers continue to climb, the government is expecting the arrival of infrastructure to build out a field hospital within 2 weeks. The health minister on Thursday evening said the field hospital is to be built in the corporate area and will add a capacity of 80 beds to the public healthcare system. Work has already gotten underway with a base for the facility currently under construction. The health minister stated that the field hospital is being built in collaboration with a bilateral partner of Jamaica. He also disclosed that field hospitals would also be built in Mid-Island and the western parts of the country. And finally tonight, international news. Thousands of migrants and refugees left without shelter after a fire on the Greek island of Lesbos have been protesting against the construction of a replacement camp. Almost 13,000 people had been living in really bad conditions in the overcrowded Moria camp and are desperate to leave the island. The island's residents also oppose the reconstruction of the camp and have blocked roads to stop aid deliveries. But the Greek army has already begun setting up replacement accommodation. Families have been sleeping in fields and on roads after fleeing the blaze on Wednesday, as authorities struggle to find accommodation for them. The camp was initially designed to house 3,000 migrants. People from 70 countries had been sheltered there, most of them from Afghanistan. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight and this week. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting. Have a safe weekend.